Our society, has always highly teacher has heroes, selfless, noble, courageous, educators and caretakers of our children, the dashing profession, was one of the few we were supposed to celebrate questionably. Teachers we were one of only a few professional groups. We were made to upload simply for existing. Now this attitude towards truly any profession at all was and has always been wrong headed. Nobody is a hero merely for working in a certain occupation. I don't care what the occupation is because they're getting paid whatever the line of work is. Most people get into it because it's something they think they can do and they want to do and they think they can make money. That it isn't. It's not a bad reason to take on a job made by an immense. It's also not heroic, it's sort of a morally neutral motivation. Most of the time, done sometimes because you want to do it and you think you're good at it doesn't make you a martyr or saint. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just make you a person like the rest of you. So there are good teachers, plenty of the even heroic teachers. I bet some, but they aren't God or heroic simple for being teachers, and that's the distinction to keep in mind. The problem with adopting a romanticized view of any profession is that it makes it impossible to hold the people in that profession accountable or to criticize them when they deserve it. This exactly why this romanticist idea was cultivated in the first place. It becomes especially problematic when we were talking about people who work so closely with and have such an influence over our children. This should be cause for extra scrutiny, more accountability, louder criticism when warranted because the consequence of turning a blind eye or, or ignoring the bad things when your children aren't concerned could be catastrophic. The teachers union have made this situation so much worse, but worse but be framing and criticisms of teachers on attack on the teaching profession haranguing the public into turning the blind eye and ignored the neglect or abuse of the children in the school system, which doesn't happen and has always happened, and also be firstly protecting the bad teachers while demanding ever more consideration and benefits and perks for all teachers, irrespective of their job performance. The world situation is quite a mess. The path is merely, and that mess has been thrown into much sharper relief over the past. Hardly what a year now when schools across the country have been shut down. It was, of course, almost from the beginning. As we've talked about many times in the show, that there was no real reason to have the school shut down at all. Our children are not likely to contract or spread the virus. It becomes even clearer as time went on that the consequence of having the school shut down and trying to replace them with Skype and Zoom session. We did was talking yesterday about the child disease epidemic, and one of the largest school districts in the country prompted a renewed push of classes to resume in person in that district, and yet still want teachers. Unions and many teachers themselves, though certainly not all have demand that schools start should education. Be damned to children, be damned goalposts keep moving, and there is no end to this process of goal. But shifting as we have learned here is how bad it's going to be. Washington Post has editorial an appropriate critical even fair editorial about the teachers union in Fairfax County and everything that teachers union is going to avoid going to work. Let me read a bit. This is written by Rory Copper, with a parent to three students in the district. It's a quoted the Fairfax Country School system demanded at the rabid high priority placement for teachers and administrator to be vaccinated against the coronavirus. That's vaccine began a week age and according to the Fairfax Country Public School Superintendent Scott Brabrand. Yes, his name. His Brabrand. Anyway, 50,000 teachers have received their first dose and additional 22,000 teachers are registered to receive their first dose and yet having jumped at the front of the vaccine. Like Brand, the VCPS school, but at the U, I can't even say the last name, with only that you know. I should be in public school myself. The VC and the VCPS school bar and the teacher unit are lying opening. School that raises the question of why they have it their priority placement to be to begin with whatever text vaccination should be immediately halted so that high risk individuals or public servants who haven't been working outside of their homes for the entirety of the year have access. Okay, so let's not understate what happened here. The teacher union engaged in a form of exerting rally holding the education system hostile so that they themselves could get to the front of the balcony line, buzzing in front of the elderly people, sick people, other high-risk people. Keep in mind that the average age of a teacher in the US is 42, about 15% of teachers are under 30 under teacher. So this be a large are not high risk. People many of them have little to worry about even if they get sick if you're 27, even if you are teacher and you get sick, you're probably gonna be so the static. They'll use yet they were a part at the front of the line and after being given what they still refuse to go to work. And when it's sight they meant the union we have it to keep in mind. As stated are plenty of individual teachers who oppose this and vocally so thrown on not enough for being vocal to my mind, but it gets worse listening to this at the January 21 school board meeting. Fairfax Education Association President Kimberly Adams said she received her first vaccine dose on January 42 the 12 days had of this scheduled start for school personnel. She has said there that her union could not support a return to full-time education even in the fall. The fall is in September 2021. 9 months after she was vaccinated, the union said that all students must also be vaccinated. Adams also wants 40 days of city community spread, yet she now wants the student to be vaccinated to both kids against a very low risk group. Also, and this seems like a relevant problem. A little bit of a logistical issue here, as there aren't any vaccine currently available for kids under 10 or right under 14 actually, and her demand for 2 weeks of serious spread is a demand for a school to never resume ever, and yet these people still want to get paid, have been getting paid the demanding front of the line for tobacco, full pay, full benefits, but without having to do their job for a year now, and counting this is quite simply one of the greatest displays of cowardice and selfishness I have ever witnessed, and if you think I am exaggerating, remember, I get that children are not learning anything through some class. Listen, to have teachers themselves tell the use so the kids their education is being student and meanwhile they're increasingly falling into depression and suicide. The teachers union looks at this and use through three shoulder the only thing. They carry out the only thing. Period. At all is that they personally get the most amount of money and the most amount of benefits for some the last month of work possible, and that has always been the concern of the teacher union always, and don't expect anybody in the current administration to expect first of all. Against this, the Chicago Teacher Union is also refusing to return to work even though a plan was put in place to open schools again. So the city wants to open the school, but the teacher union is saying whether or not going to go. They are stamping their feet and saying they are not going to go back to the school because sorry too our friend President Biden was asked about it yesterday and had a chance to stand up for the kids, and for the education system, but instead here was his answers. Right now, the Chicago Teachers Union has refused the defeat and order to return to in-person classroom for in-person classroom because of a lack of vaccination. Do you believe, sir, the teacher shall return to school? No, I believe we shall make a school classroom safe and secure for the students, for the teacher, and for the help that's in those schools maintaining the facility. We need new ventilation system in those schools. We need testing for people coming in and out of the class. We need testing for teachers as well as students, and we need the capacity that in fact the sick of the circumstance in the school is safe and secure for everyone. For example, there is no reason why the clear evidence will be that every school shall be thoroughly sanitized from the laboratories to the hallway, and so this is about making an honor of the school district that I am aware of. There may be some public school districts have insisted that all those pieces be in place. Yep, there is his answer. What will talk about cowardice that's in them? He was an absolute coward. He had a chance to stand up. I mean, Democrats are terrified of teachers' unions. Will you know that he had a chance to stand up and say, listening, get back to work, the kids need you stop whining and get back to work instead. He tells about new ventilation system in all of the school in the whole country. Why do they all ever need it? What else do you want? Maybe we should demolish all the schools and use rebuild them from scratch. Used to be safe, yeah. There could be some leftover virus in there, or you never. There could be a virus hiding somewhere under a floor. So let's use demolish them all, or better yet demolish them all and not rebuild. Then, because we might as well if they aren't. Being used the upshot here is that school will now return this year 4 million of kids probably not in the fall either when at is said and done millions of kids might end up missing 2 years of their education missing. 1 year is not the best case scenario that about that no for any kids was parents that over and homeschooled they won't have missed any train. In fact, truly gonna be better, but most parents aren't doing that. Truly are many parents who can't do it because they still have to work, and so to us, kids, millions of them are simply going without them. That will now continue indefinitely because of the chronic, unaltered, cowardly self-interest, calhousing, and laziness of the teacher unions and many of these members.